What's up everybody, Damon here, and in today's gaming news, Microsoft announced all the games still coming to Game Pass this month, Sony is reportedly in talks to buy FromSoft's parent company, and Remedy reveals how many copies of both Control 2 and Firebreak it needs to sell. This is your Daily Fix. Microsoft has announced the next wave of games coming to Game Pass, taking subscribers up to the end of November. Today, November 19th, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 hits Game Pass Ultimate and PC as a first-party day one release. We gave the previous entry a 10 out of 10, so hopefully this one turns out just as great. Tomorrow, November 20th, GSC Game World's long-awaited S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 hits Game Pass Ultimate and PC as another day one launch. Also on the 20th, Little Kitty Big City launches into Game Pass Standard. It's already available with Ultimate and PC. November 20th is a big day for Game Pass with Played Up also launching on Standard. Moving on to November 26th, Nine Souls arrives on Ultimate and PC. Nine Souls is a hand-drawn 2D action platformer with Sekiro-inspired deflection-based combat. A day later, on the 27th, Aliens Dark Descent descends into Ultimate, PC, and Standard. We gave it a 7 out of 10 and said Aliens Dark Descent is a fascinating, tense, inspired survival horror RTS with a few too many technical bugs to recommend it without caveats. That's what we've got to play for the rest of the month, and don't forget, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is out December 9th. Moving on, Sony is reportedly in talks to buy Kadokawa, whose subsidiary FromSoftware is buying smash hit Elden Ring, the Dark Souls and Armored Core games, and PlayStation exclusive Bloodborne. Reuters reports that Sony is looking to add to its entertainment portfolio. Kadokawa's business extends into areas that fit into Sony's broader entertainment offering, which includes anime, manga, TV, and film. Kadokawa is a prolific publisher of anime, and Sony already owns anime streamers Crunchyroll and Funimation. As well as FromSoftware, Kadokawa owns the Danganronpa developer Spike Chunsoft, Octopath Traveler developer Acquire, and RPG maker and pixel game maker developer Gacha Games. Talks between Sony and Kadokawa are reportedly ongoing. If the talks are successful, Reuters said a deal could be signed in the coming weeks. Kadokawa is the majority owner of FromSoftware, with around 70% of the company. Sony already owns around 14%, with Tencent owning around 16%. FromSoftware has yet to announce its next game to follow this year's Elden Ring DLC, Shadow of the Erd-Tree. Piers Harding-Rolls, research director at Ampere Analysis, told IGN that news of a potential deal isn't that surprising and that this could potentially be a defensive move. He said, FromSoftware is an important partner for Sony's games business and it will not want a competitor taking control of Kadokawa and potentially disrupting that relationship. It helps that Kadokawa is also active in areas which are a strong fit with Sony's wider business. We'll continue following this story here at IGN. And finally today, developer Remedy has provided a rare insight into the business of making video games, even going so far as to reveal exactly how many copies its future games need to sell in order to break even. The video game industry is typically secretive when it comes to sales numbers, and rarely does it provide development or marketing budgets or sales projections. But Remedy, developer of Alan Wake 2, has done just that in an investment-focused meeting, discussing the upcoming Control 2 and PvE shooter FBC Firebreak. It's worth prefacing this by saying Remedy is talking about the sales needed to make a 100% return on investment on these games, and that's expected over a period of 3 to 5 years after release. The game budgets, Remedy said, were set with their price points and expected sales in mind and are, quote, realistic. Let's start with FBC Firebreak, Remedy's new multiplayer game set in the Control universe, billed as a 3-player co-op experience. It's worth bearing in mind FBC Firebreak will be available day one on Xbox Game Pass and PS Plus Extra, which will secure revenue from Microsoft and Sony. The development budget for Firebreak is 30 million euros, approximately $31.7 million, and will carry a mid-price point, i.e. not $70. To secure 100% ROI, it needs to sell 3 million copies during its lifetime. Moving on to Control 2, as a full-price AAA game, Remedy is set to self-publish and therefore retain a larger cut of revenue. The development budget is higher, 50 million euros, approximately $52.9 million. Control needs to sell between 3 and 4 million copies to break even. Control 2, by the way, is an action RPG, Remedy said today. According to Remedy, the first Control game has now sold over 4.5 million copies, so the dev will be hoping Control 2 can reach or even exceed that figure. Encouraging the studio will be the fact that Control has reached an impressive 19 million players with the help of various subscription services, so the audience interested in the sequel should be significant. You're only as good as your last game though, and for Remedy, that's Alan Wake 2. The horror adventure is now up to 1.8 million copies sold, and it still hasn't turned a profit, although it's close to doing so. The AAA video game market is particularly brutal right now, with thousands of developers losing their jobs and an ever-growing list of studios shutting their doors. Throughout it all, Remedy has remained independent, although in September it received a 15 million euro loan from Tencent as part of its self-publishing push. Meanwhile, Remedy is also working on remakes of the first 2 Max Payne games, and those are actually what I'm most excited about. And that's your Daily Fix for Tuesday, November 19th. Now that you're caught up on the news, watch the new trailer for Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remastered. I'm Damon Hatfield, and for all your video game news, stay tuned to IGN.